university. So it's only Jennifer, her mom, and her dad. So all of them had guns on them and they were screaming at them to give them money. One of the gunmen tied Jennifer's hands behind her back with a shoelace. He takes her room to room, ransacking every room in search of money. Now remember, this is the story as Jennifer tells investigators. So this is all what Jennifer says happened that night. So Jennifer says that she gave them $2,500 from money that she saved from teaching piano, and $1,100 that her mother had hidden in a nightstand, but the thieves thought that this was not enough. Okay. Sorry, I'm looking at notes and sometimes I make weird faces. I don't know why. It just happens. Hanban, the father of the family, tries to explain to the gunmen that they don't have large sums of money in the house. Like, if they go searching, they're not going to find like thousands of dollars because the family doesn't keep like large sums of money around the house. That's when one of the gunmen whip Pan across the back of his head with the gun, like the pistol that he had. Then another one of them take Jennifer upstairs and ties her arms to the banister. And the banister was like, I think it was like the staircase, like railings. So she had her arms like tied to the banister. And another one of the gunmen took Han, Pan, and Pick, the parents, downstairs to the basement, shoved them on the floor, like turned their faces so that they weren't facing the gunmen, like their faces were events in one night, investigators thought there was more to Jennifer's story. So, besides how odd it was that she was tied up when she made the 911 call, they found it very weird that 3 gunmen thought they killed both parents and left Jennifer alive. And if they were looking for money in the house, they did not look very hard because there was money all over the house, valuable items all over the house that had not been picked up. There were 2 expensive cars, very expensive cars, parked in the Pants driveway. If a robber came in for money, would they not take those very expensive cars? I don't understand quite well. There was a lot of suspicious stuff going on. At this point, the cops kind of had the suspicion that Jennifer had a role in all of this, but they couldn't tell how, and so, they didn't have any evidence on her. So they called Jennifer in, and they made her demonstrate exactly how she made the phone call to 911 if she was tied to the banister. And she basically, she showed them that, she did some weird, thing with her arms, and she picked up the phone, and she pulled it out of her pocket, and her arms were still tied, and she made the call, and whatever. So at this point, investigators were like, okay, maybe she's not guilty, She showed us how she called 911. Why are you washing dishes at this time? So, anyways, at this time, they still thought she was a little suspicious. So, they continued searching, and they even sent a secret police detail to follow her around to her mother's funeral, even to her mother's funeral. He said the police detail that was watching her said that he watched her at the funeral and said that she didn't shed a single tear. She didn't even care that her mother had died. They expected her to show some emotion after this horrific thing had happened to her, but no, she was totally calm, totally normal. This made them more suspicious, so they researched more. They went back to the 911 call. They went back to the 911 call that Jennifer basically living a double life. The daughter that her parents were so proud of was actually not the daughter they thought they knew. This was all a lie. Now, being tiger parents, Pan and Pig did not allow their daughter to date. Unfortunately, Jen met a bad boy named Daniel Wong, and she had to create lies to hide their relationship. Daniel was a drug dealer, and Jennifer looked at Daniel Wong like he was a knight in shining armor. And when she was supposed to be at university, she was actually living with Daniel in another home. Like, insane. But one day, her parents found her acting a little suspicious, and they followed her and unraveled all of Jennifer's lies. They found out she was living with Daniel, not going to university, lying to them, etc., etc., a bunch of other stuff. So they locked her in her home for days, I think. They did not allow her to drive. She wasn't allowed to use her phone, and she was only allowed to use leave her home for piano lessons. And Pan told her that she had to go back to school, break up with Daniel, or leave the home, or wait until he died to date Daniel. Unfortunately, Jennifer couldn't wait too long. So, through text messages, cops learned that Jennifer's boyfriend Daniel connected Jennifer to two known hitmen that he met through his drug deals. The initial plan was $10,000, kill the parents, leave the home. But the father survived and told cops that he had seen Jennifer untied during this horrible night, freely walking around, talking very friendly like to a white guy, while two gunmen were, like watching the parents doing their thing. So now, Jennifer is a suspect. Jennifer says she snapped and she planned to kill her family. This is what they thought. She hired 3 men to come into her home, a home invasion, and kill her parents to avoid disappointing them when she started to date Daniel again. They would die. She would be with Daniel. Easy. But her dad woke up and exposed everything. He saw her walking around free, being nice to the gunmen. But they didn't have enough information to arrest her, though. But Jennifer tells investigators that she was finally ready to tell them the entire story, telling them a completely different version from beginning to end. And this story shocked everyone. She said it was supposed to be me. It was supposed to be me. She initially hired the hitmen to come into the home, stage a home invasion, and take her life instead, a suicide by proxy. Her heart was broken for not being able to date Daniel. She tried to take her life several times, but she failed. But they thought So Daniel Wong was brought in for questioning, and he messed up big time. So it seems the two didn't try and align their stories or anything, because he exposed her completely. Daniel Wong told investigators that Jennifer did indeed want her parents dead. Daniel told them that Jennifer gave Jennifer our burner phone to contact the hitman with, and that all the proof was there, but Jennifer said the SIM card for it mysteriously disappeared. Odd. She obviously tried to she got rid of the SIM card, but she did not get rid of the phone, and the cops were able to find the text between Jennifer and the hitman from this phone. So Jennifer, on that night, texted the hitman VIP access at the time that they entered. They saw through looking at the security camera footage of the neighborhood that at the time she texted the hitman VIP access, she was seen turning her bedroom lights on and off and on and off, signaling to the hitman that she had unlocked the front door, allowing the hitman VIP access. Kinda cool, but kinda weird. It's like, I don't know. So Jennifer was arrested for conspiracy to murder her parents. The hitman and Daniel Wong were also charged. Jennifer, Daniel, and two of the gunmen are sentenced to life in prison, and the third gunman pleads guilty to conspiracy to commit murder. Jennifer receives a non-communication order, which means Jennifer is not allowed to speak to anyone in her family ever again. In regards to all this, Jennifer's father said, "I hope my daughter Jennifer thinks about what happened to her family and can become a good and honest person. But people are still waiting for her to come clean. She still claims she's not guilty." That is our case for today. And I feel like this is kind of similar to an honor killing case, because it was like in honor killings, the parents are like very strict and they end up like killing their children because their children don't abide by like the cultural rules or whatever. But in this case, the parents were being very strict on the child, and the child ended up killing the parents. This is why I don't agree with raising your children in such strict households. Like, it's not good. It's not. I'm sorry. I don't. Maybe in some cases it works. But like, I don't know. I just feel like if it does work and you raise these amazing children, I'm sure it would have some effect on their like mental health, their mindset, like how they look at themselves, like their self-esteem, stuff like that. I'm sure it would have an effect. I'm 100% sure about it. Maybe I'm wrong, actually. I don't know. Like my parents, they did raise me with a certain set of rules that like I do have to follow, like, which is like every parent, like, don't do drugs, don't stay out too late, don't hang out with people that you know are a bad influence. But they didn't like force But